Hello, everybody. This is Tim here again. Had another movie review. I recently, just today, just saw Jurassic World Dominion, and I know this film is kind of getting a mixed fan reception. Critics hate it. It's getting a mixed fan reception though, and I'm not somebody who really cares about critic ratings or anything. In terms of the fan reception, it is mixed. People either seem to be like really liking this movie or really hating it. Personally, for me, I enjoyed it. I rate my movies from 1 to 4 stars. I'd give this a solid 3.5 out of 4. I thought it was pretty good blockbuster entertainment. It isn't great. It's not a masterpiece or anything, but it's fun. That's the thing. If you're making a movie that's just like about like blockbuster entertainment where it's just mostly having fun, if you entertain me, I can forgive writing problems and script problems. And there are some obvious ones here. The whole plot being about like the grasshoppers and all that is kind of, it does take away focus from the dinosaurs for a lot of the movie. And the movie is long. It's like 2.5 hours, I think. So that does kind of hurt the movie. The acting performances in the film are all good. Chris Pratt does a good, solid job. Nobody in this movie is really bad. I don't think anybody in this movie is really great or mind blowing, but I think everybody does a good, solid job. There's this random black chick that Chris Pratt meets like partway through the movie, who's like a um plane pilot or whatever, who's like helping them out, trying to rescue their daughter that they pretty much adopted, who was the clone chick from the end of the last movie. She's been kidnapped or whatever by this company called Biosyn, who's the ones that's making the genetically engineered prehistoric grasshoppers or whatever. Kind of similar to how the dinosaurs are made. You got BD Wong's character or whatever helping them out, who's the dude from all the other movies. And eventually he tries to like turn a new leaf to try to stop the things, and he needs the clone daughter's like blood or whatever in order to be able to pull it off to make a serum, an antidote to kill him. You get some cool action in the movie, which is what really counts. For the first part of the movie, at certain points, I was like, this is okay, it's all right. By the end of the movie, I had a pretty good time. I would say this is altogether slightly better than the last movie, but I would say they're pretty close in quality, to be honest. Um, you get some really cool like action scenes with the raptors. I believe there's like a feathered raptor at one point where Chris Pratt is like on the ice or whatever with the black chick that he meets up with and teams up with, and it like comes out there after him on the ice, and it busts through down into the ice and is like swimming everywhere, and then comes up through the ice to try to jump out at him. It's pretty cool. You get some cool scenes with Sam Neill. It's good that they brought back Sam Neill's Dr. Grant character. Ellie Sattler's character, played by Laura Dern. If you hear a dog barking in the background, it's because my dog's around here. I just got done seeing the movie. But it's cool that they brought back Ellie Sattler and or Laura Dern as Ellie Sattler, and Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm. They all do good, solid jobs here. Some of the humor is like very modern, like MCU humor, with some of the jokes that they have, like Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum and stuff do, where it doesn't really feel like they're characters of the past. It does feel like some kind of new blockbuster type humor, and some of it was a little bit of a miss, but most of the jokes I thought were fine. You get cool action scenes with the Raptors where they're like running after Chris Pratt on a dirt bike or whatever, a motorcycle. I can't remember which, but pretty cool action scenes where they're chasing after him. And Bryce Dallas Howard's in the movie. She does a good, fine job, and she like puts out this pole in between these two trucks and clotheslines one of the Raptors. But they're like government trained Raptors where this was chicks like selling them or whatever, and she uses this laser pointer arrow to put the laser on Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and all that, and the Raptors are like chasing after him. Pretty cool action scene. They even bring back the black dude who was partners with Chris Pratt in the first Jurassic World. I'll say this: like, I'm probably kinder to these Jurassic World movies than maybe some of the people that hate them are, simply because of the fact that when Jurassic World came out, to me it felt like a reboot, like a soft reboot of the franchise. It's still in continuity with the first three, but at the same time, they're kind of just redoing what was done in the first movie, except taking it even to a further evolutionary level with the whole genetic engineering and tampering of dinosaur DNA, which they don't do that here, but they did do it in the other two movies, Jurassic World movies. What I'm getting at is that part of the reason I didn't like the two actual Jurassic Park sequels, 2 and 3, like Lost World and Part 3, that much, is because they felt like they were trying to kind of recapture that Jurassic Park feel. They didn't feel like they were forging their own path and doing their own thing. So I didn't really care too much for Lost World or Jurassic Park 3. I thought Lost World was like, all right. Jurassic Park 3 I did not like. And then when it came time to see Jurassic World, even though it was kind of a reboot, it was more in like a B movie science fiction vein, just with a really big budget. So I enjoyed it for that. It did recreate a little bit too much of the first movie, but by the end, when it got to like the big dinosaur action and the raptor action, it was fun. And then Fallen Kingdom was a little bit like similar to this one. It was kind of a little bit all over the place till you get to the end with the Indoraptor and everything in the climax. And I didn't really hate the stuff on the island before it got killed by the volcano. And you got some good imagery and stuff there. Altogether, these Jurassic World movies feel separate to me. They're so like removed from what was the tone and style of those first three Jurassic Park movies, for the most part, that these really feel like their own thing. Like these movies really feel like just like blockbuster fun movies, really. Almost like at some points like B movies on big budgets. And they are fun. That's all I really need from a Jurassic World movie. So for me personally, I had a pretty good time with this. I thought it was pretty good. You get to the end, you got like this Giganosaurus or something like that, who's supposed to be like the biggest predator, meat eater dinosaur like ever in existence. He's not a hybrid. He's like a real dinosaur, and he's like you get to see him like bite the T Rex's face because they're like battling for dominance of the area and stuff like that around Biosyn and all that in the company. Uh, I think the actor Campbell Scott plays the villain here, who's like the dude who's making the engineered locust. He's kind of lame. There's not much to his character, and at the end of it, it is kind of cool that he gets killed by one of those like multiple spitter dinosaurs. That was pretty cool that they brought those characters back, or that character back, Dilophosaurus, I think, from the first film, which we haven't seen since then. And I believe the character's name is like Dotson, who I think is supposed to be the same character from part one, where the fat dude's like, we got Dotson here, which is pretty funny that they brought that back. They're trying to link everything together because this is going to be like the last movie for a while, for a while until they do another trilogy yet again. Um, but yeah, so that was cool. Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum don't get a big bunch to do kind of in the first half, but eventually they do start to kind of get more to do. It feels like Sam Neill and Laura Dern kind of have more to do than Jeff Goldblum, at least for a bunch of it. And by the third act, they all come together, and it does feel kind of cohesive for how they come together. But at the same time, though, they were underused for part of the first half. But when they do come together, you get some really fun like action scenes where like running away from the whatever it was called again, Giganosaurus or whatever. Pretty cool action sequence. And by the end, the T Rex like shows up, and it's kind of similar to the ending of the first Jurassic Park, but not an exact copy. Where the T-Rex shows up and actually like saves them and fights the Giganosaurus thing, but it manages to, or Gigasaurus, whatever it's called, it manages to take down the T-Rex, and the T-Rex is looking like it's going to die, and then it raises up off of it, or is looking like it's dead, like the thing thinks it's dead, and it raises up off of it, and this other like bird-like creature shows up with these talons, and it fights it for just like a few seconds, and then the T-Rex, like you could see, he does a close-up on his eye, like opens up like, oh, it's on now, and it raises up, the T-Rex does, and just like completely like demolishes the thing and rams it and knocks it straight into the thing with the other dinosaur with the talons and causes it to get pierced, and that's what kills it. The main evil dinosaur that they have for like the final act and all that, and for the towards the third act action scenes, it's not really like a main predator like threat like the T-Rex like how they had the T-Rex as like a big threat in the first two movies pretty much for like most of it, even the Spinosaurus in 3 and the Indominus and the Indoraptor and other ones, like those were more built up and like were in the movies like through the course of the movies. This one just kind of shows up in the third act really and starts wrecking damage, but the T-Rex manages to kill it, and it does its roar to show that it's the king of the Jurassic Park franchise. I always thought it was weird they never brought back the Spinosaurus, to have like the T-Rex kill the Spinosaurus. But they probably didn't want to do that because that would have been too much of an FU to Jurassic Park 3, and they don't want to seem like they're being too harsh probably on that movie, even though obviously they've tried to get away from that one with every chance they've gotten when it comes to the T-Rex. But yeah, overall, by the end of the movie, it's a happy ending. All the acting in the film, like I said, is good. Everybody's fine. As a whole, as just like another Jurassic World movie, as a blockbuster, like these films feel different to me, so I'm able to separate them from the original Jurassic Park. Like when I watch these, I don't really feel like I'm watching a Jurassic Park film. Like it feels like something else. So altogether, for a Jurassic World film, I found this to be pretty good fun. I would say it's slightly better than the last one, not as good as the first Jurassic World, at least for me. So yeah, if you're a fan of the franchise, you just want to see some cool ass dinosaur action, I'd say check it out. It's not on the level of Jurassic Park Part 1. None of the sequels have been, but again, these Jurassic World films feel far enough removed as to be their own thing to me, to where I don't really feel the need to compare them to the first Jurassic Park. So yeah, altogether, I liked it. Pretty good movie. 3.5 out of 4. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.